Before us today, we have every single Madden 24 golden ticket, and we're going to put them on the tier list. Down below there will be chapters if you just want to skip to any card that you care about, seeing me talk about, put the chapters down below. If you are part of the 59% of people who watch the videos that are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The first card we're looking at today is CJ Gardner Johnson. 5'11", 210, 99 speed, 99 acceleration. But of course, all these cards are kind of similar in stat-wise. Where they set themselves apart is, of course, abilities. And Gardner Johnson's one I like. A little bit undersized for a golden ticket, as normally they're like 6'4" DBs. But I do like bottleneck for those who run it. Also, deep zone tackles, supreme reinforcement is a pretty good combo for an over-the-top safety. It has a counter for freight train running backs. Reinforcement will give you the better run support, better sheds. And deep zone will give you the better reaction for a deep safety. So I do really like CJ Gardner Johnson. I think he ends up being A tier, and he'll end up probably being towards the bottom end of A tier because of his build. But those abilities, he counters enough of the offensive meta that makes the card very useful. Okay, I'm realizing we're spending too much time. A minute's too much time on one card. So Bo Jackson, best release in the game, amazing speed, amazing stats across the board. Ability wise, he gets the job done. Gunslinger, set feet, hot route masters. Probably would, actually, I was going with this. I was going gunslinger, set feet, Truz, and then I was just paying for hot route master for 3 AP, which is not an ideal setup on Bo. But if you don't care about the AP and you run Bo with a 6 AP-ish setup, he's one of the best and most fun QBs to use in the game. So with that being said, I believe Bo Jackson ends up in S tier. I still do feel that way, 100%. And then next up, we're going to go Ben Skowronek here. Ben Skowronek is one of my favorite guards in the game right now, and I'm not even kidding. I love guys that are versatile, so him being a fullback, you can put him at tight end, obviously fullback or running back. And his build, I comped him to an Eric Dickerson. He moves like Eric Dickerson, 6'3", 220, and of course does get the evasive, but the best part is that he does get Vanguard for free. I don't even run this ability slot. I just go evasive and Vanguard, and the guy, I put him at tight end, I play him at fullback. Obviously that Vanguard being an ability, there's so much value in that. He's still 800k, I might actually look into that to finish my RPs. I have to offload him. But to me, Ben Skowronek, one of the better, I think he's S tier, man. That Vanguard for free is so overpowered, and you can honestly take the argument over Bo Jackson. I would actually take that argument. I think, Bo is probably top 5 QB in the game. I think Skowronek is probably number 1 at guys that kind of get Vanguard and are super versatile, which is a kind of a niche card group, but I think he's definitely one of those top end options. And then next up we have Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat, 6'6", 260, so he's not gonna have the good juke animation, and that's also why I like Skowronek as well. He's small enough where he's still able to avoid KOs. Like I like Montez, who's 6'6". Yes, he's great. If you want a tall receiver, great, go for it. But Montez is obviously gonna be a little bit clunky. Run blocking wise, he's insane. And then you also have, of course, the Vanguard as well. You can go Truz, Vanguard, Route Tech. I probably wouldn't go evasive because evasive doesn't make that big of a difference on a card who's as big as he is. But because of the size, I honestly would put Montez Sweat at A tier. I think I definitely would. I think, being able to avoid KOs in July, there's so much value in that. So, yeah, I would actually put Montez Sweat down, but still a great option. Obviously, A tier for these golden tickets is still amazing. We're definitely splitting hairs when it comes to grading these cards today because they're all great. They're all golden tickets at the end of that. Okay, we now have Clapp, the center golden ticket. One of the first, if maybe, it might be the first offensive lineman golden ticket, but the big thing about this card is, of course, the speed and acceleration and the fact that he does get Vanguard for 1 AP, and you can go Identifier and Secure Protector, or I would probably go Identify, unless you have someone else that has it, or maybe you go Vanguard all day, Secure. It's up to you, but I think Vanguard, being on your center, even someone that you can just move around the offensive line, there's so much value in that. Just having Vanguard on a center is or an offensive lineman in general, is so big. You saw it with, Jason Kelce, you see with Kevin Mawe, and the same with Clapp, and he has the speed to back it up as well. One of the better cards in the game. This one right here. So we just talked about this guy right here. We just talked about, where is he? Montez Sweat. Victor Cruz to me is just a better Montez Sweat because he is smaller. He's able to avoid KOs much better, has the same run blocking stats, doesn't weigh the same, which that's actually a good thing because he also has very good ball carrier animations as well. The big thing is, does he get Vanguard? And yes, he does. He does get Vanguard, evasive, and Route Tech, which to me is an amazing setup. If you don't believe in Route Tech, you can just go with Truz to avoid all the avalanches in the game right now. But I like Victor Cruz a lot. To me, he's a more well-rounded version of Montez Sweat because he is able to get down in those tight instances. So I would actually Yeah, I'll go Victor Cruz S tier. S tier Victor Cruz for sure. I think he's just a better version. I mean, if he had Yak him up, that would be nice. But of course, you can always use the ability on him for Yak him up if you want to. But imagine him getting Yak and Vanguard. That would have been crazy. That would have been actually crazy. Who's next? We got Ed Reed up next. As a Jets fan, I haven't bought the last, or as a Jets theme teamer, I actually haven't bought the last 2 Ed Reed cards, which says something. But he's still 700K, 99 speed on acceleration, really good stats across the board. But of course, it's the abilities again that sets these cards apart. And you know, run stuffer is cool. This could have been reinforcement though, and it would probably play the same. It would feel the same, and you'd also have the better reactions and KOs in zone coverage. And you see, he doesn't really get that many zone KOs, so you're probably gonna go with, obviously, you're not gonna use tip drill. You're gonna use deep zone KO. You're probably gonna go with avalanche and run stuffer on him. That's probably the play on him, and then maybe you go reinforcement as an ability up here. But I wish he got or as an X factor. But I wish his card has got reinforcement, and for that reason, Ed Reed is going to be our first C-tier player today. I don't love his card. I think it did miss the mark a little bit. And it's not like his size is anything crazy either. Pause, but it's really not. He's only a 5'11 corner, which Gardner Johnson's the same, but Gardner Johnson has a much better ability setups and is much more versatile, in my opinion. So yeah, Ed Reed's going to be down there at C-tier. Next up, we got Doug Will. Doug Will's a good one, of course. To me, he's just... I like his abilities. To me, he's just a slightly worse version of Bo Jackson and another quarterback we're going to talk about today. But I do think he is one of the top golden ticket QB options in the game. As you do get Fearless, you go High Route Master set feet, and then you obviously would pay for Gunslinger for 2 AP. Or just don't run it at all, as he does have Traditional 4, as we know, is one of the best releases in the game right now. So Doug Will, he's great. I would actually put him at high A tier. A very nice option. I'll keep moving on here. We have Calais Campbell. If I can find the man, there's Calais Campbell. The big thing about Calais Campbell, the traits are perfect actually, but he does get that, where is it? An unstoppable force for free with inside stuff. So a great defensive tackle option with these stats. You don't even need to run anything else. Just run inside stuff and unstoppable force for 0 AP with these stats. You're going to be just fine. Calais Campbell, to me, I would actually put him low A tier as a defensive tackle. Having the stats that he has, being able to get inside stuff, being able to get unstoppable force and not waste an X Factor slot or even any AP, there's a lot of value in that. So Calais Campbell, A tier. A tier, B tier fringe, in my opinion. I would hear an argument either way. I really would. Travis Kelce. So the Travis Kelce debate, it's kind of the same to me as the Montez Sweat Victor Cruz, where would you rather have the better movement and the better size against KOs? Would you rather have the height and the weight? And to me, I would rather have the better build, the better animations, and the shorter height that avoids KOs at tight end. So that's why a guy like Skowronek is going to be over Travis Kelce, who is quite unique because he is actually able to get Vanguard and Yak him up, which I do like a lot. And to me, that does put him ahead of Montez Sweat. And also, evasive, it's not going to make that big of a difference. This actually could, because you're able to protect the edge if you want to max protect. What's going on out there? If you want to max protect, you could do this, and he'll actually hold on versus some pretty good, pass rushers if you want to go that route. But Travis Kelce, to me, he's very fringe S tier. I would hear an argument for him being S tier, but I'm going to put him high A tier. Can play wide receiver. Again, can play fullback too with that Vanguard ability. But to me, it's the height that sets the card apart and the weight, where he's not that great after the catch, and it's harder for him to avoid KOs as a pass catcher. Whereas a guy like Skowronek, he's smaller. He's a smaller tight end option that is able to avoid KOs. And you're probably thinking he's a fullback. He's not a tight end, but still, I look at him like a tight end. Next up, we got Randy Moss, right outside linebacker. Randy Moss, 99 speed, 6'4". It all looks pretty good there tackling wise. This guy is not a great edge rusher. Do not play him at edge rusher. He's going to be a user only kind of guy. But either way, I think as a user, I think golden ticket users this year are the top, the top end of the crop, where they're the best, probably to go after. And the price tags obviously do reflect that. So Randy Moss, I'm gonna put him at low S tier. A great card, great user. You can even argue him maybe a little bit higher, but yeah, I'm gonna put him low S tier for now. And is one of the best users in the game right now, without question. Next up, we got Vince Young, one of the more head-scratching golden tickets. The release is mid. The card stats are pretty good, but he's like a scrambler, mainly a scrambler. You guys see the abilities. We're not going to spend too much time here on Vince Young, but I don't really like the card, and I think he's a D-tier option and one of the worst golden tickets that have come out this year, and maybe one of the worst actually of all time, to be honest with you. Alge Crumpler, pretty good one here, 6'2". Again, he follows the short tight end, able to avoid KOs kind of angle I like. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't have the good movement, so he's not going to be as glitchy. But I would actually argue that I would like Kelce more, even though he does get Vanguard. Obviously, the Vanguard for one, and you can also put Yakum on Kelce as well. I actually do like Kelce more, but I still think Alge is a top end option in the game. I would still put him in A tier. He's a great tight end option. There's really no issue with Alge Crumpler. Of course, the Vanguard has the ability is the great thing about him. Let me hit this real quick just so we kind of can get the. And now we're all over the place here. Where did AJ Dillon go? There's AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon. The problem with his card is his movement. That's really the only issue. That's like the only problem with the card. He's a pretty good pass catcher. He does get the slow juke move. That's the only issue. The cool thing about the card is that he does get Freight Train. Freight Train's great. Freight Train has an ability. You don't gotta worry about any Aiden Hutchinsons out there. So there's actually a lot of value in this card. Evasive, it makes a slight difference, but when you're too heavy, it doesn't make that big of a difference. And then I would probably go Bruiser, honestly, just because you do get the better animations if you do need to go to that. So AJ Dillon to me, low A tier player, because he is a Freight Train ability guy, which of course in other promos there are guys like this too. But those are my thoughts on AJ Dillon. Deion Sanders. And again, you're going to notice that we kind of started with more recent golden tickets, and now we're kind of going back in time. And you're seeing how the golden tickets are just kind of getting worse. I do like Deion because of, Tackle Supreme Deion is nice. Deep Zone. And then where else do you go? Do you go Avalanche on Deion? Maybe you go Avalanche on Deion. I mean, he does have some kind of stats to back it up on this card if you want to do that. But to me, Deion, against the other cornerbacks in the game right now, who get bottleneck as an ability, or universal coverage as an ability, or even reinforcement as an ability, Deion Sanders doesn't stack up that well against them. And to me, it's kind of like Ed Reed. Normally good cards, but they just kind of got cheated on their abilities a little bit against the other cards to their position. And I think it's simple as that for Deion as well. Kayvon Thibodeaux, just kind of he's just a pass rusher, man. That's really all I can say about Kayvon Thibodeaux. The big thing about this card is that his traits are not perfect, like a guy like Calais, who we already looked at. Perfect traits as a pass rusher, which there is value in. But Thibodeaux, golden ticket stats, obviously it's cool, it's great. But they try to, you see the coverage stats here, and they try to make him like a drop linebacker with kind of bad coverage stats. So I like reinforcement on him. I think that's good for being a 6'1" edge guy. Reinforcement's cool. I probably would have rather have had dual threat, honestly. Probably would have rather have dual threat, edge threat elite, and then no outsiders. It's honestly, or even tackles, it's honestly not that bad of a setup. I initially was going to put this guy at D tier, but I'm going to move him up. I think he's actually much higher than I thought. That setup for an edge rusher is pretty good, despite having bad traits. I know for a lot of people, you want guys that can drop in his own coverage, so having reinforcement, there's value there. Edge threat and tackle supreme, that's pretty good. I'm taking that. That's a good setup. Counter a lot of the things, still get good edge rush. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll go with that. And you can still go with unstoppable force, I guess, as an X factor if you need to, right? You can always do that. You need to. So next up, Joe Alt. Joe Alt, 6'8", 322 pounds. A lot of us used his 94 at corner. He moves okay. He does feel a little bit clunky. This guard is pretty comparable to that one, besides just covering up the speed pretty much. Good pass rush stats if you want him for that. One step medium route. If you're playing zone, you probably don't care about this stuff. So you're probably gonna go mid zone flat, or maybe probably mid zone deep zone, or flat zone mid zone, whatever you want to do on Joe Alt with the X factor. I think if Alt was 5'11", he would probably be in here, but he's 6'8", 322 pounds. So I would actually probably move Alt up to here. Honestly, the build carries him a long way. That's what I'd say about Joe Alt. That's what I'd say, because the abilities, they're not special, but the build is, and how he moves and how he animates is actually special with him being quarterback. So that's why he ends up where he ends up. Next up, we got Robert Griffin III. He's the other QB, of course, I was referring to, and I would take him. I think he's the best golden ticket QB in the game. As you get master tack for one, you get set feet. I would go Truz, and you kind of have a choice here. Do you want to go down the pocket passer path, or do you want to go down the ball carrier path and put Truz on him? And for me, I would probably go Truz over Fearless, which is probably a controversial take, but I would go master tack, set feet lead, Truz, and then I would pay for Gunslinger. We're at 3 AP right now, and then I would probably go with Angry Runs if you want to go full ball carrier. But if you want to cover up the fact that he doesn't have Fearless anymore, you could of course go with The pro reads ability, which covers up throw under, when it's on, it makes you immune to pressure. So RG3 is my favorite QB in the game, or favorite golden ticket QB in the game right now. I would put him here-ish. Yeah, I would put him there. I think he's a little bit, I think there is a gap between him and Bo. I think RG's number 1. That's the way I look at it. Man, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I think when I first started doing tier list, I did it like this. And I remember the videos were just too long, but I feel like this one is deserving to touch on every single card. But Marshawn Lynch, I think he's one of the best running backs in the game. Movement-wise, he's great. You guys see it, 5'11", 215, good weight, okay height, 99 short route running, 94 release. But the stats are great. And then the big thing is, does he get it? Yes, he does. He gets freight train as an ability and evasive, or Truz. Truz is also good too, but I think Tank's okay. Most guys are going to be going for hit sticks. You're able to break that tackle. So I would go Tank, freight train, evasive on Marshawn Lynch. And just don't worry about it. He's a great card. Do I think he's an S tier level running back? I don't think his build is perfect enough to put him in S tier. But I do think he is better than AJ Dillon. So I'll put him at A tier. Lowish A tier for Marshawn Lynch. Probably the best golden ticket running back that we've seen. Yeah, that's what I would say about him. TJ Watt is an interesting one because his traits are perfect, but also 90 zone is good too. But again, they try to make him like this edge rush guy, and he came out after Kayvon Thibodeaux, so it doesn't get like reinforcement as an ability, but better traits than Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's the big thing. Better traits, edge threat elite, and then Avalanche with no Enforcer Supremes it's not great. I just don't really like this card's build. I don't like it. Even though I rarely do this, but even though Kayvon Thibodeaux has worse traits, I would actually put him ahead of TJ Watt because of that reinforcement, which I think, obviously, X Factor's abilities, there's just way more value in having that. And OJ Howard is pretty much just Montez Sweat without the good ability stacks. And then, yeah, this guy's right. This is probably one of the most random golden tickets of all time, as he didn't have a wide receiver card all year, but whoever made him, they made wide receiver. So he's kind of just like a worse version of Montez Sweat. Can the card still play if you want a big body receiver? Yes, he's cool. A little clunky, but he's he's actually our first B tier guy today. I'm surprised we haven't had one of those yet, but there's going to be a lot more after him. Next up, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts to me is just he's Vince Young with a slightly better release and some slightly better abilities. That's really all he is. Escape artist on this generation of Madden is not great. Gift wrap being at one of the discounts is honestly crazy too. If it were me building this card, I would probably go fearless. And the big thing, of course, you have to pay for Seth Elite, right? That's all. I'm not even going to really talk about the build. I think he is better than Vince Young, but both cards are just not great. Eddie Jackson is the man we have up next. Pretty solid card, honestly. 6 foot, 206. Speed's good, acceleration's okay. Man, zone, catching traffic, tackling, it's all there, right? Pretty much like a normal card, like nothing crazy as far as the golden ticket stat boost. But tackle supreme's good, of course. We know what that counters. And then you have deep zone or mid zone. I would stay away from Avalanche when it comes to. I mean, if you want to go Avalanche and then you can go go mid zone with reinforcement as an X factor, then go Avalanche. You can do that if you want to. Eddie Jackson to me, just a solid golden ticket. He's just a solid, gonna get the job done for your golden ticket. So Eddie will end up being a lowish B tier guy. Just solid, gets the job done. Maybe move him down the high C tier towards the end here. We'll see, but I'm cool with leaving him there for now. Another bear. We have William Perry. This card's solid. I like his release, best release in the game, but the abilities to me are just not as good as a Bo, as a Doug, or as a RG3. In my opinion, they're just not. Passive elite's good, but escape artist is a big waste here. I don't love the ability. I just don't think it's that good. I don't think you need to really roll out and be effective in this year's game whatsoever. So let me go pass lead, tank, human joystick, and also you kind of have to go down one singular path with William Perry, and that's being a scrambler. It's simple as that. I mean, that's kind of what you need to do. So William Perry, you can definitely win games and be good with this card, but I would put him at B tier. That's where I put William Perry. Simple as that. Next up, we got Cornelius. Where's Cornelius? Is next up Cornelius? Yes, next up is Cornelius Bennett here. 6'3", perfect traits, really good stats across the board. 99 zone coverage as well. Pretty good card. I like this card a lot. However, he does lack a little bit in the ability category. If he came out after Calais Campbell and had Unstoppable Force, he'd be one of the better ones in the game. He does not get it though. Again, all these cards still do get charges, but I guess he'd be one of the guys that you would use your charge X factor on. And then you can go get one of the better ability, golden tickets and use their X Factor abilities, you can always do that too. Extra elite solid, but then you kind of have to sacrifice tackle supreme, and then they kind of made him like a drop guy where you would want to like mid zone lurk artist. If you don't, if you just want to play him off the edge, I like edge threat elite, enforcer supreme, and avalanche. Only problem with this is usually guys close to the line of scrimmage struggle with those abilities and really making them pop, really making them work. So Cornelius, I believe he's solid. So we're gonna put him down here. Well, he's B tier. I think he's B tier. Again, I won't put him at C tier. I feel like to me he's just like he's a better pass rushing Kayvon Thibodeaux, but then Kayvon Thibodeaux to me is probably more complete in coverage in my opinion. So that's probably what I would say. They're pretty interchangeable depending on what you want. But I like Cornelius more as a pass rusher, and that's probably how he'll be used more traditionally. Probably how he'll be used. Zay Flowers is up next. This card had really good potential to be good because he's a smaller receiver. They could have given him some really good abilities, and he's just he's just to me, nothing special as a receiver, nothing special. It's not there's no golden ticket feel on him. D tier for Zay Flowers. Next up, we got Rodney Harrison. Next page here. We're actually doing pretty good right now on time, I guess. Actually, I don't think we are. I don't know. Rodney Harrison, 6'1", really good stats. 99 speed, 99 speed, 99 man, 99 zone. Pressing catching isn't crazy good, but then for the abilities, again, he came out before the X Factor ability time for golden tickets. He's still a good user. I still like deep zone, mid zone. If you play man, then you run this bucket. If you don't, you're in a kind of a weird spot. If you play him over the top, I would probably go deep zone tackle supreme. If you play him in the box, mid zone tackle supreme. So his setups, they're a little bit like single dimensional, as you can't really cover a bunch of different things with the cards. I would actually put Rodney Harrison at C tier. To me, he's nothing crazy special. The next one is Jordan Love. I actually don't hate this card at all. I think he's actually pretty solid. I mean, set feet, backyard 2B, and then I would probably go roaming and then pay for gunslinger. We're at 3 AP right now. Not bad for the card. And as a ball carrier, he's okay. As a runner, carrying under 90, juke move under 90, I don't love that. And also like COD just at 90, you're gonna definitely be using him as a pocket guy for sure. So Jordan Love, kind of a single dimensional QB with not great ball carrier stats, not very golden ticket feel-ish. I would actually put him at low C tier. I would go low C tier for Jordan Love. That's where I put the card. Next up, we got Mark Bavaro. One of my favorite cards when he first came out. I'm not gonna lie, because he got reinforcement as an ability, which was, I guess, before its time when he came out, which was when? When did he come out? Was this still May? Yeah, end of May he came out, and I think he was one of the first ability golden tickets, but X Factor ability golden tickets. But reinforcement with mid zone, this combo right here feeds families. It gives you pretty much all zone KOs. And then I don't think you really need lurk artist, but if you want to, you can, or go avalanche to help you in run support. And of course, the stats, they do back it up as well. So to me, Mark Bavaro, yeah, he to me is a low S tier option. I think for sure. The size at corner is great. The abilities are great. It's all great on Bavaro. No real issues at all. To me, he is an S tier golden ticket without question. The next man up is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry to me is pretty much, he's just a worse version of William Perry to me. I do like set feet lead. I would probably go fearless hot route. We're at 1 AP, which is not a bad setup. You pay for gunslinger 2 AP. It's honestly not a terrible setup on Derrick Henry. I actually don't hate this card at all. I always go back and forth, kind of between him and Perry. And I think right now I'm feeling Derrick Henry because he just gets better passing abilities, and you still have obviously the good ball carrier stats and stuff. It's to me you flip a coin between these two. They both win you games. They're both solid. They're better options in the game, yes, but they're both fun cards. That's kind of my thoughts on the Derrick Henry and William Perry debate there. Next up, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, just a solid receiver. Again, like not like you're like, oh my god, this is a golden ticket kind of crazy. If he had like Vanguard, for example, crazy. But like even the run blocking stats by themselves are nothing crazy special. Ball carrier, he's always good because he's 6'3" about and under 245 every year. So after the catch, he's always really good. But DK, just another DK card to me. It's not like it's a golden ticket DK. If what I'm saying makes sense. I would probably go jukebox, route tech, and probably honorary lineman. I'm on DK. So DK Metcalf just checks boxes. B tier. I'm not writing home about the guy. Not this year. Could he have been a really good golden ticket with some slightly better abilities if he came out later in the year? Maybe. But he's not. Donnie Parham, 6'8". Again, same spiel I gave you with Joe Alt, where his size is the reason he ends up where he ends up. It's not because of the abilities. Even the 90 acceleration isn't great. I did use this card for a little bit, but you know, this last slot, you don't even need to run it. You don't even need to really run it unless you're really running like a man-heavy scheme. I think I was going with mid-zone secure tackler on the card when I used for him. If you put him over the top, I would probably go deep zone secure. I think having secures and zone KOs is probably the most valuable. So, yeah, I'm going to put Donnie towards the top end of B tier. Again, abilities are not great, but his build is what carries the card. Jessie Bates, much better abilities in my opinion. Tackle Supreme, you're definitely going to want to run that. And then you are kind of split here because you kind of want to have mid-zone, but you know, if you just go deep zone, secure tackler, deep zone, pick guard is tackle supreme, it's okay. Or you just go mid zone, deep zone, secure tackler. Also not a bad setup for Jessie Bates. I mean, he's just solid. I put him high C tier. Jessie Bates high C tier. And actually, I'm gonna move down Eddie Jackson. I mean, these cards are pretty similar, so I'll move him down and kind of go back and forth with both of them. Next up, we have kind of a pointless golden ticket, and that's Bo Jackson. To me, like, he doesn't do anything that his other card really can't do. Same traits, it's actually perfect traits on this card. No, I think Bo Jack, the other one had perfect traits too. It's just that he didn't have good pass rush stats. And this one's really no different. Can play man, can play zone, has good hands, good speed, 6'1". But like, where do you really play this card? Is he an edge rusher with no edge rushing abilities? Maybe. I mean, if you want, I guess you can go with like charge up reinforcement, or sorry, charge up unstoppable force if you want to, and then run all these pass coverage abilities like lurk artist, mid zone, or go flat zone, lurk artist, secure, something like that. I guess you can do. But Bo Jackson's this golden ticket to me seems kind of pointless, and to be honest, I would toss him like C tierish. He's good, but like he's not like, damn, he's crazy. I don't know. That's kind of my thought process. Next up is Justin Jefferson. Kind of the same thing I said with DK Metcalf, where it's like just another Justin Jefferson card that a fan made. He's not special. He's really not anything crazy. I mean, gets good setups. We're kind of into that middle of the golden ticket drop, early end of it, where we weren't getting these really crazy overpowered cards. So Jefferson, I do like the tank though on him. Jukebox tank. Leapfrog, make him the non-fumble. He can't fumble, but him and DK pretty interchangeable. I would actually lean DK for the build, but both cards are just solid options. Right? They're just both solid. Next up, Vita Vea. Looking back now, this card's kind of pointless because he doesn't even get Vanguard as an ability. Does get secure, no route tech. He's too big to be able to move well. So Vita, cool card. We get him every year, but I'm gonna put Vita down there at D tier. My bad, I hit the wrong backspace there. Larry Fitzgerald is another pretty bad golden ticket. I would say he's probably the worst. I'm not going to spend too much time on him, but these abilities on a receiver that really aren't that big of an upgrade to his previous one, then yeah, you deserve to be bottom of D tier and one of the worst golden tickets we saw this year. When this card first came out, he was looking like he was going to be one of the better golden tickets throughout the year. I think he's kind of dropped a little bit. He does still get some pretty good setups like tackle supreme mid zone flat zone or tackle supreme mid zone lurk artist. He's a free safety, so you don't really need a lurk artist to make the animations better. It does help, but I guess you can also go deep zone, flat zone, mid zone. Like, you have options with this card you're able to do. To me, Mean Joe is a nice, solid B tier. I would take his abilities over Donnie's. His build is also pretty good, but I think he's a nice B tier option. You know, when it's all said and done, looking back at the promo, that's kind of where he'll end up. But again, I feel like it almost feels like people had different, choices for abilities towards the end of the year to make golden tickets. As far as, maybe you want to put X factors on them. It's probably the big one. Next up is Gronk. Enforcer, flat zone, sure. Then you probably go lurk artist, tackle supreme to help him animate. Gronk is good. To me, oh man, the Gronk rating's tough. I would probably put Gronk B tier as well. I think in the recent drops, we've gotten much better users, and that, of course, does drop Rob Gronkowski. And we're kind of going to speed run through these ones at the end here because they're just not great. We're towards the early end of golden tickets. Taysom Hill. All you got to know is mid-release, and you have to pay for set feet lead. Okay, that's really all you got to know about the card. Do not like Taysom Hill at all. I would probably put him here. You might even argue he's worse than Vince Young, to be completely honest with you. Mike Allstott, another card that when he came out was cool, but now he kind of renders as pointless because we have Vanguard ability guys in the game, and he's not one of them. And honorary lineman, sure, he's too heavy to even benefit from evasive jukebox. Like, what's the point of this? You go bruiser, tank, honorary lineman. Sure, he can get the job done. And then, of course, you also have the charge X factors too. which, they do play, I guess. They do work. I would probably put him in front of Zay Flowers, as he's still a valuable power back, more than he is a fullback, right? Calvin Johnson user. This is one that came out very early on in the year, or not in the year, in the golden ticket release cycle. And to me, he's still one of the better ones. I think he's Randy-like. I actually would probably move Bavaro up one, to be honest, and put Calvin and Randy together, as they're pretty comparable. They're pretty similar. The only big difference is that Calvin does get a pass rush ability, which will make him a slightly better pass rusher than Randy. I do like Calvin's abilities, of course, but Calvin, again, a golden ticket that came out very early in the release cycle and is still a very good one, is rare. Kincaid, I mean, when he came out, he was like cool, but we knew this card wasn't going to be a special one, and he didn't end up being one. So Kincaid, probably worse than Vita, one of the bottom feeder golden tickets without question. Next up is Patrick Willis, another one of those guys that when he came out, he was one of the better users in the game, but now more users have come out that have kind of dethroned Patrick Willis. His cards always do play really good, but like this bucket, I don't even know if I'm really running that, to be honest with you. And then I would probably go Lurk Artist, Tackle Supreme if I'm using the card. If you're letting him lurk, then you kind of get put in some tough positions here when it comes to putting Patrick Willis down. Like, where do I put Patrick Willis? Like, I don't even know where I feel like he's a low C tier option at this point, because there are just so many better users in the game. Like, to me, he's kind of in the Bo range. To me, I guess. I don't know. When he first came out, he was obviously crazy, but now he's just kind of a pedestrian compared to the other cards in the game. Next up, though, Darrynton Evans. This is from the first golden ticket drop. These cards are okay, right? I mean, they're probably more towards the bottom end of things. Like, Darrynton Evans and like Breece Hall probably ends up here, as both the cards are very similar. I just like Breece's build a little bit more. But one guy that does jump a little bit is actually, I would say, Vincent Jackson is probably one of the few golden tickets from that. Actually, we also have Peppers as well, but Vincent Jackson's solid. You get a charge X factor with route tech and tank, and you're 6'5". Like, that's enough to. Nah, we'll probably keep him down here in D tier. Honestly, those abilities against the other guys that we've seen it's tough to put him in this category. It would be tough. With like only 2 discounted slots too, would be very tough. But finally, for our final golden ticket, and then we're gonna go back to the most recent ones at the end here. Julius Peppers, okay, 6'7", 99 speed. His ability setup, it does enough, right? Lurk Artist, Tackle Supreme, and you can go with the X Factor charge up. It does enough. It gets the job done. I think that is deserving of at least. Oh man, we'll toss him here. We'll toss. I might take him over Rodney though. I think for what he is, I think he belongs there. For what he is, I'm happy with that. I actually am not upset by that, putting him there. We now have today's golden tickets. Well, I guess while I'm recording this when these ones came out. I'm not sure when I'm uploading this video yet, to be honest. But Joe Burrow, the ability's up yet. Yes, they are. We can show them right now. Joe Burrow, he's solid. Hello, it is me from after editing this video, and I had to put this in here because I was wrong about Joe Burrow. How Gambit plays on this card is very good. You're gonna put me. I think I put him like B tier, maybe C tier. But yeah, disregard that. If you watch this part of the video, you'll know he's like an S tier level QB, one of the better QBs in the game. You guys know his stats are great, but Gambit almost works like Gunslinger and a velocity boosting ability when it's an ability. When it's an X factor, it's really not worth running because it's not on all the time. But when it's on all the time, it works like a velocity booster and a Gunslinger in one, meaning that you save a lot more AP. And probably the biggest thing about Burrow is that they did change his release to 2 traditional 4. That's probably the most important thing. So Burrow, he's definitely a top end QB option in the game. Is he the best QB in the game? I would say no, but I think he's right up there with Bo Jackson and RG3. I would say that for sure. So Joe Burrow, I was wrong about his card. You're gonna see him on the tier list, end up at like B-ish tier, C tier, but just know he is in that S tier level of these golden tickets and all 32 team chems, specialists in the game, good abilities. Joe Burrow's awesome. I clicked the wrong thing again, but we got Mike Evans up next. I'm telling you right now, these next 3 golden tickets are some of the best you're going to see this year. I mean, what else do I need to say? Look at these stats on his build. Mike Evans, free safety. And then here are the abilities. Reinforcement, mid-zone, and Tackle Supreme. There you go. Sign off. This is one of the best cards in the game right now. With his build, top of S tier. Okay, top of S tier. We're now going to touch on Randy Moss. Kind of the same thing. Build beautiful, weight beautiful. They were saving some of the best golden tickets for last, clearly, and they have done that. If you're not running bottleneck, sure. Don't. If you are running bottleneck, you have it. If you're not, you go tackle supreme. I wouldn't go lurk artist. I probably would go reinforcement. I mean, maybe you go reinforcement with avalanche. To me, I feel like universal reinforcement have too much overlap to really justify running both of them, but I don't hate it. If you want to do it, you have options with this card, right? Any of the perfect build, and you still have charge X factors as well. I would probably put Mike Evans in front of Randy, though, to be honest. It is close, but I just feel like the Mike Evans setup with reinforcement mid zone, and yeah, I just like that setup a lot. I would. It's close between these two, honestly, as DBs. It's very close, but I know who's not close. I think this is the best golden ticket we've seen this year. One of the first two-way players that legitimately is a two-way player in MUT that we've seen, Caleb Jones. You guys don't know you can sub middle linebackers in at tight end in the playbooks, you know, in the pre-place selection. So Caleb Jones, being able to put him in at tight end with these stats, I mean, it's 99 every single stat. There's no hole. It's like, I'll go to compare as well. It is literally 99 in, wait, was there one not one? Lead block 98. They cut him cheap there, but it is literally 99 every single stat. So you have that for a middle linebacker. Can maybe even, no, he can't be a pass rusher really, as he doesn't actually get that good of traits, but the abilities on this card are just stupid. He gets screen, like, look at this. Vanguard, yak him up, evasive, screen protector, because, like, why not? And route tech. And his discounted ability slots, you're going to have lurk artist, reinforcement, tackle supreme, or bottleneck. Like, he's one of the best MUT cards of all time and can legitimately be a two-way option. So, yeah, that's my golden ticket tier list. Wait a second, did I just catch you skipping to the end of the video to see what the final tier list looks like? I mean, if I did, it's okay. Just hit the subscribe button. That's how you make it up to me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and okay, now you can see the full tier list. Okay, now you can see it. Let me know what you guys think. We made it to the end. Drop a comment down below, man. What do you guys think? I don't know. This golden ticket year, I think if they kind of stuck with what we got in the final two drops for every single drop, it would be great in my opinion. It would have been pretty good, but they had these like early game drops and just so many misses this year in my opinion, where again the promo doesn't feel special to me like it did in Madden 20, and that's my opinion. But either way, drop a comment down below. Who's too high, who's too low, let me know. Of course, have a great rest of your day, and as always, I will see you boys in the next one.